the truth is, they're as dumb as they come.
Stupid as being nuts. You're an absolute moron.
Huh? It's the house! What's going on, freaks? How's it going? Hello. Lisa Valenzuela, Alley Cake, Joel Burnt. How's it going? Hello, Six Kids UK. Yep, there's some updates in the case of Angelica Brophy. I mean, just other information. I guess it's weird. There's all this sort of scattered information that's out there. I think Jason sent me a couple links out there that had. We can listen to them. I'm not going to play their video because there's really nothing to be shown on them, but we can listen to what these people are. They're like news channels. We can listen to them. And then there's like this picture somebody sent of vultures flying around somewhere, but I can't tell. You know, it's just so classic. You know, these people always pretend that they're being helpful, and they never respond to any questions you ask. Like they go, "Hey guys, what do you make of these?" And then you say, "Well, where is that?" And then they never comment again. It's like, why bother posting if you're not going to post something that's, you know, useful to other people? It's just, I think it's a lot of times people just do it for the hell of it. You know? Hold on a second. Yeah. Anyways, I just heard back from one of the in that group. You know, this lady, you know, the one that said the one that was in the article about getting a message that said, "Thank you for all being friends." I just said, "Hey, is there any way you could answer more questions?" And then she said, "It has been brought to my attention that your coverage in the story has included photos of her home. This is deeply concerning, as she has young children." What does it have to do with anything? It's just part of the case. You show locations and, you know, it's like, so what happened was, that means one of the troll dipshits out there got a hold of him and said something. Because there's no way anybody would give a crap. But no, every single case, it's the same. Yeah. And profiling. Okay. Yeah, it is a yellow. I do have a yellow shirt on. All right. Isn't that crazy though? That that's what they would say. Yeah. Whatever. I don't sit there and show kids. You know, I'm not sitting there showing the kids or anything. I'm just showing like here's the home and there's the car. You know, you can see it's the same car. Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous, you know. There's no kids in the photos. Yeah, the trolls just never give up, man. They just relentlessly spend all their days. That's all they do. It's just crazy. Yeah, yeah, it does. I don't think it's anything. I mean, I'm gonna keep showing where the home is. You know, it's right there. Yeah, I guess I don't have to zoom in and show you that the car in the driveway is exactly the same. That's the only point of that. I'm not sure. You know, anybody can look up anybody. It's just a location relevant to the case. Yeah. You can't see the address from Google Maps. Well, I mean, I didn't say what the address was. I just showed the, you know, like I zoom in on it. You know, like I've gone like, you know, I come in and I just, you know, go right there and say, hey, look, you have her car's in the driveway. I don't know what the hell's wrong with doing that. You know, and it also shows you like the distance. You know, here's where she lives. This is the hospital she works at. The casino that she went to is over here. It's almost like it's kind of on the way to, you know, she probably drove there that day by going down over here and went around like this and around down to this area. And then after the casino, for some reason, drove up into the park here. But hey guys, this is another day, another show. So if you guys could help support the channel, that would be great. It always gets ominous when we get into the show and we're still at 000. So if you guys have the ability to, that would be great. We got to get the ball rolling early or it doesn't happen. Yeah, so, you know, she goes up to there. But I guess what we found out was in these articles is that, or videos, is that the phone stopped pinging over at the resort, kind of like what I said. Remember I said I wouldn't be surprised if she turned it off at the resort and then drove. Well, that's exactly what it says in one of these videos. So I got that one right again. Then it also, one of the things though, it sounds like one of the videos says that they were supposed to do something in the evening. You know, some sort of, I don't know, what do you call it, like an activity or, I forgot the terminology, but in the evening they were supposed to do something. Like his family, her family and her. I guess before she went to the, I mean, I you know, that's the thing. It's like, how far is it from her house to, I guess what we could do is like, how far does it take to drive from her house to maybe come in here. I could just put that in up above. And then to the hospital there. I don't think this is working anymore. They're on Google Earth, the mapping portion. It used to work, but it doesn't seem to work anymore. Well, we're still at 0, I guess. Still at 0. Until just now. Thanks, Alley Cake. Yeah, well, anyway, I think it's in this general area. And then over to here. Okay, so that takes about, I guess the quickest route is 28 minutes. So that means they'd have to be done doing whatever they're doing at maybe 6 o'clock if there was some evening activity planned. But then doesn't the husband or whatever get off work at 5? And I mean, how does that even work? I'm not sure that that's accurate information. I wonder if people are conflating information. Are there search parties looking on the hiking trail and forest? Well, yeah. That's what they're doing. I mean, they're up on the... Well, I think searching on the hiking trails is a complete waste of time. You know, I mean, obviously that's the first thing everybody did was walk on the trails and go, oh, didn't see her. You know, and it would be really easy to find somebody if something happened to them on the hiking trail itself. But that isn't how it went. Yeah, we already said that, Amanda. I had it at 1 hour and 10 minutes. That's what Google Maps had. 1 hour and 10 minutes. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about from her home to the hospital, because if she was supposed to go do something later, and maybe at home, I don't know where, it would take 28 minutes to get to the hospital. And then from the hospital to here, I think it was what was that? No, it's 1 hour and 10 minutes from here to the hospital, but it's 45 minutes from the casino to this area here. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible she had something else she was supposed to do. I wonder what that was about, though. Yeah, it's 1 hour and 10 minutes. That's what Google Maps said. They put, and that's even slow. Like, they usually put the speed limit in there. All right, maybe we can listen to...
Welcome back here. This is something we've all been following very closely in the San
This is CBS 8, and then they have a couple guests on.
Diego area. A mother from Oceanside, an emergency department
This is from 3 days ago, though.
nurse is missing. She's been missing since July 6th. So here we are, 10 days. No word on her whereabouts. Angelica Brophy, there's a picture of her right there on your screen, 44 years old. And this morning, so many loved ones, friends, family.
Well, I'll tell you what, before we listen to these, I guess I should probably just go back, do it again. That thing is that's kind of how you got to cover missing people, is you got to go over the whole thing again, just in case there's people watching that haven't seen it. All right, so we'll do this in those 3 parts. Those are the most interesting elements, I think. So on this one here, we have, Sunday, July 5th, she had lunch with a friend. And this is the photograph from the lunch. This is Angelica right over here on the right. And this is the friend there with the kids. And then apparently there was nothing unusual about her behavior on the 5th. And then on the 6th, she dropped her daughter off at a camp. I think it's a daughter. I think I don't know. I mean, let's just say one of her children off at 9:30. It does say daughter. Okay, it does say daughter right there. According to the Bring Angelica Home Facebook group, another parent volunteered during morning drop-off to pick up Angelica's daughter later that day. And they say, so it was planned that morning when she dropped off, meaning that's when the plan was developed, right then. And then at 3:30 p.m., and I've seen 3:40 as well, she's seen leaving the hotel on camera. Now, we find out that the phone was turned off or went dead while she was at the hotel itself, and the casino. Mm-hmm. Okay. What else did you get out of it, Boulder Smokey? You want to call in and tell us what you saw or what you talked about? Here's the phone number. How about you just call in and tell us what you got, instead of me having to sit here and just wait for you to type something in. Yeah, I think that there's a cell tower. I showed it yesterday. It's only a mile away, up on a hill that overlooks that entire area. All right, so there you go, Boulder Smokey. Why don't you call in and tell us? And the cell tower is right there on top of the mountain that overlooks down there. See, that's probably why you have good reception there. It's right here. See? So call in and tell us all the stuff you got from the person. And by the way, is there any chance you guys could help support the channel tonight? We're just sitting here. What happened? There, try it again. Try it again. I don't know what happened. It just didn't... Can you try dialing that again? It came on the screen, but it went blip, like it hung up. Maybe I can... Yeah, it doesn't show... Yeah, try dialing that again, Boulder. I don't know if that was you. I would think it would have been. Forget it. Yeah, this part I don't like, is just having to sit around and wait. Okay, let me try. I think I see it right here. Hold on. I don't know if this is this. I mean, that's the number.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Forget it.
Call from
Boulder and Smoky.
All right, there you go. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, not too bad. I don't know what I
Okay,
thought
well,
you were a woman for some reason. It's hard to tell by a name like Boulder. But anyways, okay.
That's the name of my dogs.
All right.
So I spent quite a few hours out there today. I hiked it. I mean, I hiked lots of miles. I tracked my miles. I showed her my hunting app. I mean, I hiked a lot today. And there was a good wind coming through there. I don't think she's there anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, at least not in that immediate area. Because, I mean, you'd smell her. I mean, it's...
Well, decomposition.
I walked... Yeah, I mean, I walked a lot today. And it was kind of warm there today. But
well, where did you
anyway,
walk
on the
to,
way
though?
in,
Where did you go?
all around the lake, the mountain up above it, and then mostly on the east side because the wind was coming from the west.
Mm-hmm.
So all the way out to the buildings that are out to the east, there's two like maintenance buildings for the water. I walked all around those buildings, took pictures. I took pictures of trails. I was surprised that I didn't see as many footprints. You know, they say there were searchers out there, but just kind of surprising on the trails. And I mean, I went off the trail. I was mostly looking for a wind, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to cover more ground with the wind coming through than trying to get to a high spot looking for anything.
Do you have a map of where you went or anything?
Yeah, I can send that to you. I took a screenshot or whatever.
Because I think she was kind of like, I mean, I'm just came up with some random place yesterday, but it was like northwest. Like once you get to the top of the hill, and then you kind of go over, it kind of starts going downhill again, and so you wouldn't smell anything down there. I would, you know.
Well, the thing is, I mean, the wind was coming from the west, but see, west of where she parked is the camping area, and usually people don't go that way. I'm not saying they didn't. I went that way even today just to see if I smelled something. But with all those campers there and the wind coming from the west, they're going to smell something. They're going to pick something up. It's a whole, layer in between, between the parking spot and where the wind direction is. All those campers would pick up that something. Anyway, I mean, I looked right where her car was. They didn't do a lot of investigation around there. I mean, like right behind it, I found chapstick and a little zip tie that was, I mean, literally, I identified the spot that she was in.
Yeah, I have a pin on. I have a pin on the exact stall she was in. Yeah, you can see it by you can see the little repair on the ground exactly the same.
Yeah. I was just surprised they didn't pick up any debris. And even as I was walking, I found like I don't know if it was a T-shirt or something that was ripped. It's just weird the things they didn't pick up. Okay, so I guess the biggest thing is that I talked to Chad, and he's literally the guy that processed her that day. And he, so I asked him quite a few questions. There were 2 cameras there. He said that they don't work. Okay, so that answers that question. So he did process her, and he said where she parked, which is where most people park, and she came in. He didn't go out to her vehicle, but mainly the process is they're going to pay $10, give her a ticket, which she put on her windshield. There's pictures of that online.
And he knows there's just her, though, right?
Well, like I said, I asked him, I go, did you walk out to her car? And he goes, no, but I mean, that's what I got from the whole thing, that, she was by herself or whatever.
I mean, so if there was somebody else there intentionally hiding and ducking down, right? Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's pictures online that show her car parked in the parking. I'll send you the link.
Oh, I have
the guy did a great job of where they're showing the car inside the car.
No, I don't have that
pictures
one.
Inside.
Oh, I thought you were saying where it was
pictures.
parked. Yeah.
No, literally pictures of her car inside her car where it was parked. I'll send you the link. The guy did a good job. He came up here to the mountain and got a lot of good information. It was something that was pulled off a local news station.
Oh, nice.
So, people online picking apart how far back the seat was. It looks like it's pretty far back. So, and the way it was parked, it looks like she was maybe backed it in there, was maybe waiting for somebody. The seat was laid back. So, a lot of investigative looking things you could come up with by just looking
Yeah,
at
it'd be
the
cool to see
interior,
that.
the way she left. Yeah, I'll send that to you, or the link anyway. The guy did a good job. Okay, so yeah, the cell service does work. It's spotty, but it works. And I'm a hiker. I mean, I'm taking my camera or my phone just in case.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
they can always find me if I take my phone. So
It is sort of
the
interesting.
biggest-
I guess, like when she parked there, she was leaning, if the seat's back, that might show you why.
Yeah.
It does sort of almost seem like, that would make it seem like maybe she was waiting for somebody if the seat's back and she's just kind
yeah,
of
with
backed
the car
in.
parked backwards.
Right.
The passenger seat is actually forward, but she was carrying her daughter earlier, so that could make sense.
Right.
But she's like 5'5", and the seat it looks like it was back a little bit further and definitely leaned back like she was waiting for somebody. You could see all the items in the car. Okay, but probably the best question I asked the guy is, I said, so did they ask you if anybody followed her in? And and he said, yeah. And I said, what was the next car? He said, nobody else came here for day use. Obviously there's campers up there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're coming through the gate, you're going to pay day use parking just to come through the gate. Okay, so he said the next car was an hour. So I think that kind of debunks the whole thing of someone following her from, Harris Casino.
And then also how would somebody be there? Like park way out somewhere and walk through the woods and meet her? So, that would be kind of weird too. So, I mean, she could have just been contemplating after driving there, but the interesting part is when her phone pings right to near the pond, not her phone, her watch, GPS coordinates right by the pond. It was like, I think that time was, let's see. Actually, I don't know what time that was. They didn't say, but that's what led them to the area.
Oh, okay, that part I didn't hear. Okay, so they pinged. I heard something about it. They pinged her watch to the pond or something like that.
Yeah, well, here's what it said in an interview was that, or a screenshot, I can't remember exactly the derivation of it, but it was that, like she had another phone at home, that old phone, and then the family opened up that phone and it connected to her smartwatch, and then it showed GPS location. Then they went there, and that's how they knew that's where she was because of that.
Yeah. Huh.
It's sort of interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like she parked close to the pond either. She parked actually what I would consider a little bit further away from the pond than most people. She was a little bit closer to the entryway than where the actual pond or the trails go.
Yeah, she's in that parking lot about halfway in the middle of the parking.
I mean, but as you're sitting there and you're looking at it, I mean, she's a little further away than most people would probably park if they were actually going through the trail. I think she was waiting for somebody there or meeting somebody, really. The way the car was positioned. And she could have had a different phone, talking to some other, we'll just say person.
Maybe she was supposed to meet somebody there and they never showed up. And that was sort of her last, I don't know, maybe she felt bad. I'm just trying to figure out, like, where would the person be, if they didn't drive by.
But the thing is, I don't think she did herself in up there. Because, I mean, I walked that whole thing. I would have picked up the wind was such a good direction. I would have picked up something.
Well, what if she went
at least
east?
in the vicinity. Well, that's the way. Well, she would have had to go pretty far. And I would consider going a little further east, to tell you the truth. Because, in the right wind conditions, that's what I'm looking for. I had to come home.
I mean, you could say this, if she was really planned, what if she, like, made it look like she was entering, because her watch never, for lack of a better term, pinged, but that's not the term, but, it just that one time right there, and then it didn't.
Yeah.
So she could have faked like she was going in there and then went a totally different direction. But I mean, that seems kind of...
or threw it in the water, who knows? I mean, I don't know if they were looking for that, but I think she just kind of left there. And to leave all that stuff behind in her car, especially, everything. Well, the phone is the most important thing. You would take that on a hike. And trust me, the service isn't that bad up here. I mean, you can get it. But the vehicle coming in behind her, not coming in behind her, I think that was a pretty good clue today. That probably nobody followed her from the casino, because the next vehicle in, like I said, was an hour later, almost an hour later, he said. So at least the cops asked that question. And I guess there have been, I asked him, I said, well, it seems weird to me that there's not people out here looking. And he told me that, well, they have been, they usually come in the morning. And it's truthfully, as I'm walking around there and I'm seeing like no family members out there, and I spent most of the day today, I'm thinking to myself, I mean, if my wife were missing, I'm out there looking if that's the last place she was.
Yeah, but a lot of times, law enforcement says, yeah, I mean, they were there at the beginning, I think, but then now it's now search and rescue is taking over, and what are they going to do? They're not experts, or they've already searched sort of the immediate area, so now there's these other people that are better, and they're going to go, I think, probably much further, I would think.
Yeah, like cadaver dogs. That's what they need to get out there if they think she's out there still. But I might even come in a little bit farther from the west tomorrow. I'm going to look at the maps.
Yeah, I'd like to see your map, because I have the space that I was just kind of contemplating last night was it's northwest, and then when you go way up there, so when you see that walk, remember you ever seen that image of her walk that she did back in March?
Oh, no.
Yeah, because there's actually, she has
maybe with some trees behind her.
No, there's actually not an image of her. It's a map of her walk. She did it's like on, I can't remember, Stava or some kind of site where. Yeah. It just shows you her route, and it's like 4 miles, but it's only like 2 miles an hour, so it wasn't really a run. It was just kind of walking, and it kind of goes up, but then I think over to the west of the peak of her, and then it starts going downhill into the valley, which is sort of interesting because as you're going downhill into that valley, you can actually see right over to her house. Even though it's far away, it's just, you can get a view down there. So we're thinking maybe that was sort of where she, she brought medicine with her, some stuff from her hospital, that maybe she did something.
Yeah. And that happens up here. I mean, it just happened earlier this year. Someone just did themselves in, left their car there.
Same
Highway
place?
Patrol towed it away. No. On the mountain, on the road up. Yeah, I mean, but, people do come to a beautiful place. It's beautiful up here. Mm-hmm. They come to a beautiful place, and maybe, a lot of people that live in this area, they have childhood memories of coming up here. Maybe it's something special, and they come up to, it's a beautiful place. If I were going to do myself in, this is where I'd pick.
Yeah.
So
I actually covered a case like that. I told people about that yesterday, but like 5 years ago, it was an unidentified person that they went to the top of this ridge in Colorado, and they were just skeletonized, and they went through all this. They tried really hard not to be identified by, even like filing down the serial number on the gun he used. And it was crazy, but we identified him through genetics, the IgG, investigative genetic genealogy. But it was, he did the same thing. He just sort of sat up there, and he just was sick of life, I guess, and that's what happened. Yeah. So same kind of deal.
Well, the last guy, I saw his car parked there. I drove by it for a few times, and eventually Highway Patrol just towed it. And then 2 months later, hikers smelled something. And he was just about 100 feet away from where he parked his car. But it was months later before they found him.
Yeah. So what other stuff did you ask that guy, though? I mean, can you think of everything? Every single thing? Chad?
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, it's like Chad. Yeah. That's funny.
Well, I took just the brochure, and I was basically, I did ask him. I said, it's amazing to me that, here's my point on that parking area. And I live here. And when I go hiking, people go hiking from trailheads, and when there's something that closes at dusk and there's a vehicle left over, usually that should raise some concerns. You didn't come back from your hike. And so, that really is a trailhead there. It's day use only. So that was my point on that.
But is that where's the overflow they keep talking about? Isn't that it too? Or
Well, that's what he said, and I said, "Well, that's a pretty terrible policy." And I told him this. I said, I think that's a pretty bad policy to mix the two, considering it's a trailhead that people go hiking on. When they come back, if a vehicle's, I mean, I've seen other trailheads at the end of the night. It's like, whoa, that vehicle's still there. You note it. But if you have I've never seen a bunch of vehicles there in overflow parking. When I go there, it's just day use parking. It just doesn't make sense to park there. And it was a Monday. Can't imagine there was, and it was the Monday after the 4th, but still, it's not like a lot of cars parked there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is
Anyway.
they just didn't check it, so there's a certain point where it sort of becomes irrelevant. Like, it's just sort of like, okay, well, that happened,
yeah,
but
I know.
it's like after the
Yeah.
fact, like, okay, we can,
Yeah.
Monday morning quarterback,
It's just
and what should
concerning to think that they didn't, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, no big on that. They eventually found it, and let's see, what else did I ask them about the cameras?
Can you answer one question for me
he said-
while you're just?
Yep.
I'm looking at the map. Where was the gate? Where wherever this is, where this Chad guy was, compared to the parking
Entry
lot?
gate.
Yeah, the entry gate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it should say park entrance. It's, park entrance.
No, is
It's kinda right
is
where
it
you
far
come in.
away from there, or?
Yeah, it actually is. You have to go in there. I'd say it's about 2 miles in, 2 miles north, roughly.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Maybe a mile and a half driving. It's a pretty good ways back there. If you're going back there, you're going back there. Other than that, it's camping, and that's about the only place you could even park legally. Is that spot. So other than that, they have camping back that way. There is another day use parking spot, but that's on the north side of the park, closer to the entryway. So
Okay.
she knew where she was going.
Do you know what the road name is on there? Is that the Doana Valley Road? Is that the name of the road that station would be on?
I'd have to look at it. I think it's just, and I didn't bring my flyer in. Palomar State Park. I mean, let's see. I'll try to send you stuff. Like I'll send you the route that I took today.
Do you have my email address? I can give it to you.
No, I'll have to get that. I'll send you whatever I do. And I took pictures of signs, and another thing that was curious to me, just thinking, right at the pond where all the signs are, there was a dumpster there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and dumpsters do get picked up weekly around here, usually on Tuesday. At least that's they usually do it on Tuesday. Doesn't mean they do that one on Tuesday, but there is a chance that between Monday and Thursday, when they finally found the vehicle, that there could have been a body in there. Not to say that, just a chance of another way of her being removed from there.
Mm-hmm.
A big trash bin. I don't know if they looked into it or not, but
Yeah.
thought about it. And I looked in it. Smelled around.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Did they?
that's probably a stretch, but
He didn't tell you anything else? Like, I don't know. What else did you ask the guy? Try to remember everything.
let's see. Yeah. I mean, the really important things that I had before I went in was to ask him about the camera. And he said, yeah, there's 2 cameras there, but they don't work because there's pictures online of the cameras. But he said they don't work. So I asked him about the process of paying, and he said they come in here and they buy a ticket from me. Oh, okay. So they don't need license plates. I did ask him that. I said, so there's no processing that you get her license plate
Right.
or anything like that, or her name. You simply give her a receipt that she puts on her windshield. And he said, yeah, that's right.
That's what I thought. That's what I was thinking. Because I thought, man, if they put her into the system, then you would think that would flag when law enforcement would look it up. But then I thought, you know what? I bet you they just gave her a slip, and that's it. You just give them money. Here's your slip. Put it on your window. There's no transaction like, hey, ma'am, what's your license plate?
Yeah, she wouldn't have shown up anywhere. So I know a lot of people are asking that question, so I asked that one. I mean, I'm sure I could head back there, and I told him what I was doing. I said, I watched some of this true crime stuff, and I didn't hear about it till a week later. I live up here, and I didn't hear anything about it. I'm surprised that it wasn't that big of a deal, but now people are starting, look into it a little bit more.
What's that drive like? That crazy windy switchback road to get up there?
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, seems like it would be.
Some people sit some people sit at a stoplight when they leave. Well, I work up here, but even my wife, she works at Harris Casino. But going up and down the mountain, she's not sitting at stoplights going to work. We have one stoplight between the mountain and her work.
Oh, nice.
And so it's a beautiful drive.
Looks like it. Yeah.
That's the way we look at it.
Yeah. Well, but getting up there.
If you think of any.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, if you have any questions or something, like I say, I'm really close up here, and I can head over there and ask any other question, or
Yeah, I think what would be cool is to get you to send me your email and stuff. But maybe you could, I don't know if you have any video you could take or walking around just to get a better perspective, and you could send it on Google, like Gmail or something.
Okay. Yeah. I do on my Outlook email address, but I'm sure I could send some whatever attachments, or maybe I'll send stuff through Photos, Google Photos.
Yeah, that might work.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll figure it out. Some way that you can see what I did today, because I walked it pretty good, and really I was just trying to smell, and that's what you're going to pick up more than anything up there right now. It was pretty warm up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 weeks, so it should be something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was going to go there and look for a spot to go look at, a high spot, and take my binos out and look that way. But I realized right away that there were really no good spots to look from. And boy, the smell is going to come across sooner than anything. So I just started hiking everywhere. I mean, it should be flowing through there with that wind that was coming through today from the west. It's, it kind of funnels through there. So you're going to pick up a lot of area.
Yeah, I guess it does sort of funnel down there, Maybe she's not in the funnel, though. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like she could have gone over a hill down somewhere,
Yeah. I try to hit it from a lot of different. I walked halfway up the mountain just to get some thermals coming up, because normally they'll come up a little bit. And I mean, I tried a few hills. Just that was my thought. Of just everything considering the car and everything, and I don't think she's, in my opinion, after walking. I'll still try to come in from the east tomorrow, a little further from the east, depending on the wind direction. Yeah, I think that's the fastest way to pick her up. You're not going to, you should pick her up with a smell.
But I was actually thinking if you could try, I don't know, it's not, everything's pretty close even on these maps. So if you go up northwest, and then there's a hill like the Christian, where the Christian Conference Center is up there, I guess.
Yeah.
Like up there's sort of, it's just up on a hill there, and then go over that hill area and see what happens up there,
Yeah.
Because that's just right there.
Let me look at that on my maps. Yeah, I just know that a lot of people don't hike, but maybe I'll consider going down that way a little bit. The only reason I didn't, like I say, is where they're at. There's a lot of people in that whole area with camping and the conference. That whole area's got a lot of people in it. Well, for the most part, and I think with the wind. Either way, let me look at it and see if I can come in from a different direction.
Do you want me to give you my email is really short. I could give it to you.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll just send you one. Mine, I'll send you
in the email,
whatever I came up with today. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
Great. So GRAY and then HUZE, like, zebra, HUZE, the number 2.
Gray Hughes.
Yeah, it's Gray Hughes, but I'm phonetically spelling Hughes, okay? Because some people go, Hug Hess.
Yes.
Right, so it's
H-U-Z-E.
GRAYHUZE and the number 2 at gmail.com.
Okay.
At gmail.com. There you go.
Okay, got it. Okay, I'll send you what I have, a few pictures, trail, just different things, even walking through there. And I'll send you that link where a guy came up here. He actually took a drone. I mean, in the days after, when they first found out about it, some really good pictures of the car right inside, and everybody's trying to decipher, the seat positioning and what's that towel, and you know what I mean. You get the actual picture that they took before they towed her car out of there. And he took drone footage also, so pretty interesting stuff that you could add to your next story.
Yeah, man, I got a still shot here, but yeah, why don't you send me what you have? I'm sure it's clearer than what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and you're gonna like that link, especially when when it gets to the part where, and I think it came from a news station where they really showed a picture right of her car, before they took it, essentially. So
okay, cool.
Inside. Yeah.
Hey,
cool
well, I appreciate
I'll
you.
Send you what I have.
Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome.
Very cool.
Have a good day.
Boulder.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, see you.
That's my dog.
Your dog. Yeah, we don't know your name. You can stay anonymous. All right.
Boulder and Smokey. All right, bye.
All right, see you. Bye. All right, that was Boulder Smokey. But hey, guys, if you could please help support the channel, we are just struggling along again. So if you have the ability to, that would be great. Thank you. Anyways, Cindy sent me the picture here, one of the pictures. I think what he was talking about. Yeah, kind of does look like that's back, but this one might just be way up, and this is normal. You know what I mean? Although the back is down, like that does sort of seem like the seat is down a little bit. I don't know. How long would she have been there? I mean, what's interesting is the Apple Watch, they know where it was, but wouldn't it have also pinged while she's just sitting here in the car? Or sent, GPS coordinates? Wouldn't it have done that? It seems like it definitely would have. While she's just sitting in the car, if she was, it would ping. I don't know, that does kind of look like that's back a little bit, right? All right, so what was the... Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking, that they didn't take down license plate. It's just sort of like you're buying a ticket, like almost like you're going into a bar. You give you a ticket. They don't go, hey, what's your license plate? Back in the day, anyways. You go in there. So that's the reason. Then I guess there is 2 cameras, so they do have cameras. They just aren't working. That makes sense. What did Karen do? What happened? I didn't see something. We were just going through the... I'll check my email a little bit and see if Boulder sent me anything. Is there a challenge in here or something? Alley Cake? I don't know. I don't see it. Weird. All right. Thank you. I don't know. I'm confused. All right. Go back to, I was on this one when we were talking. Right. So we already went through. She met up with a friend on the 5th, and 9:30 dropped her daughter off at a camp. I think it's like a 12-year-old daughter, and she arranged for her to be taken home by somebody else, another parent. Then at 3:30 or 3:40, it seems like on an update that she's seen leaving Harrah's resort. She was there to spend money from her rewards program from likely gambling. So she had gambling money that she could then spend. But then was she really there from, I guess we just found out it takes 20, maybe she dropped the kid off at 9:30, probably by 10 she could have been at that would have been work. So maybe 10:30 or so, let's just say, to the casino. And then was she there the rest of the day for 5 hours? And then she leaves there at 3:30. Then at 4:20, that's when she enters Palmer Mountain State Park and spoke to Chad. See? That's when they spoke to Chad, or she spoke to Chad at 4:20 and then got that little ticket. And then the family, they have GPS coordinates from her watch at the park. And that's how they were able to locate it, but they haven't given us the time that was there. See, that would be an interesting element. That would tell us how long she sat in her car. I think that would be, it could be that she went up there, you guys. I mean, she could have got out of her car an hour after she was there, right? We don't have any idea of way of knowing that. So the interesting part would be, what time was the GPS? Let me see if I can try to ask somebody that question. All right, who's going to do the first challenge tonight, you guys? Got to get something moving. I'm trying to send somebody a message. And thanks, Allie Cake. And then also up above there to Lisa, Jessica, Cindy, 6 Kids UK, Chad Pickett. Is that actually the guy? And Allie Cake. Was that the Chad that was? That's funny. Yeah, great name, yeah. Thank you, Joel Burnt. All right, and then so at 7 p.m. See, there's new information. It's like, okay, so at 7 p.m. she was supposed to go to work. The people at that work with her didn't call anybody. It was her husband who eventually called, because apparently she was supposed to meet up somewhere before that. Maybe, I don't know. And then at 9:30, the husband called the Oceanside police. I think that's quick, though. I mean, people make it sound like the person, the husband wasn't hustling. 2.5 hours after somebody isn't where they're supposed to be, especially an adult, is very quick time. Then on the 7th, the police got involved, and they attempted to locate her with her cell phone on July 8th, but her phone was turned off. Now we know it was turned off at the hotel, just like I thought. And so that makes it seem even more likely that she didn't want to be found by anybody. And that's why she turned it off at the hotel. And that's why she drove where she drove. And that means nobody would be able to track her. And it worked, because nobody found out where she was for 3 days. I don't know. Who said she was only at the hotel for 10 or 15 minutes? I've never heard that. There's almost no information for the time between 9:30 and 3:30. the law enforcement knows. You know, and then they've used search and rescue, scent dogs, cadaver dogs, horses, drones, helicopters, foot patrol, and divers. And then on July 12th through the 13th, dive teams searched that pond that we were just looking at. And they did underwater searches. Search results were negative. Then on the 14th, search and rescue teams returned for an additional search. Angelica was still not located. Ongoing community efforts. Let's see. I don't need to read that part. Up here, she's 44 years old, Oceanside resident, ER nurse at Kaiser San Marcos, mother of two, I think 12 and 15-year-old, and enjoying hiking, including Palmer Mountain. Previously hiked the same area with friends in February. You know, it's also sort of interesting because the kids are at an age where they're, you know, they're not as reliant on a mother. You know what I mean? I hadn't really thought of that, but there's not like an infant or 5 or 6, you know, some young, really young age where they're totally reliant. Previously hiked the same area with friends in February. And then she was there by herself, apparently, in March, late March, basically April, you know, March 30th. So she's right up, you know, did a walk about 4 miles or so. We have that on, like this. Here it is right here. So she did 4 miles in 2 hours and 19 minutes, but she was only moving for an hour and 42 minutes, which is 25 minutes per mile, which is like 2 point something miles an hour, which absolutely you couldn't call that a run. Okay, there's no way in hell that's a run. That's just a very slow walk. But she was there just on March 30th, 2026. All right, who's doing the challenge tonight, you guys? Who's doing one? And then items found inside of her vehicle was a purse. And inside the purse was cash, wallet, a driver's license, probably the passport, cell phone, maybe not. That might have been sitting out on the, just out. And I guess we could look at that picture. Can you see anything in there at all? Or I wonder what that is. It almost kind of looks like this over there. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know who came up with the 10 to 15 minutes. I don't know. It looks kind of straight. But it's weird how the coloring is all the same as this Chiron down here. I don't know what that is. This looks like just a towel there. This seat does look further back than that one. It doesn't mean that it was slid back, though. It could be that this one is slid forward. We don't know. Yeah, so by the way, on my channel, every single night, I try to get people to support my channel because there's no ad revenues at all. I kind of rely on the people watching. And at the end of the month, I donate money too, like thousands of dollars. I take any ad revenue that we get, the super chats, the channel memberships, etc. And I donate thousands of dollars of my own money to various true crime related charities, and we are currently over $300,000 since January of 2020. So if you see me trying to get people to send super chats and whatnot in, that's what we're doing here. It also allows me to survive as a channel. So when we have people that are, we're watching and there's no support going on, it doesn't work. So if you guys have the ability to, that would be great. Yeah, it definitely looks like it's reclined back. I know, it's like, I don't know what the deal is, Joel. I have to say the same thing every single day. Yeah, I don't know what that's probably a charger cable right there, I would imagine. This little line. So she definitely could have charged her phone, I think. I mean, I'm going to say that that's what that is. And then, because that spot right there is exactly where you have the little hub thing that you can plug in your USB to. Man, I would have got in there and filmed from every angle in there. Maybe there is. Maybe that's exactly what happens. All right. So then, hey, thanks, Kathy, Friday Maker. As in Peacemaker. And thanks up there again to Joel Burnt. Right, so it's concerning that her cell phone's found in the car, because I think any woman, literally every single woman in the world, especially in the U.S., if you're hiking somewhere alone at a remote park that has cell phone coverage, you'd probably have your phone with you. But she turned it off at the casino. You know why? Maybe the casino was a place that was known that she was going to go. So she was okay having the phone on at the casino. But then after the casino, she turned it off. She wasn't supposed to spend that much time at the casino. And maybe was going to meet up later, have dinner at 5 with her husband or something. Who knows? But then she decided something else. And so before leaving the casino, she turns off her phone so that wherever she went after that is not tracked. And she probably didn't realize the thing about her Apple Watch. And as a matter of fact, the Apple Watch in general wouldn't make any difference at all without her cell phone. Like, you wouldn't be able to say, where is she? The thing is, apparently, they went and found one of her old phones, and for some reason were able to turn it on and had a password for it. I'm not sure how that all worked. And then that had the same connection to her watch that showed that it was up at that park, and that's how they located the vehicle up there 3 days later. Yeah, no, that's the thing is, I spent a lot of money just to be able to do these shows. That's why it's like so. But yes, 6 Kids UK, that's exactly right. But it just doesn't matter to people. It's just sort of like, yeah. Like the person said last night, I can watch for free. You sure can. And then people like my channels and the smaller ones will just disappear because we don't get 6,000 people watching the show. I don't know. How do you know, Cindy? What do you mean, but she unpaired the phone she had? What are you talking about? We don't know what she did. She just turned off her phone. That's it. Yeah, I guess it does kind of work. Are you saying just logically speaking? Because I remember I got a new phone and I had to unpair my watch and put it to the other one. So yeah, how would you do that? I don't know. Maybe they backed up her phone to that phone or something, and not sure. Well, how do you know, Cindy? I hate when you type stuff in as if it's a fact when you don't actually know the things. Just say hey, maybe this happened, or hey, I think maybe this. But a lot of times you just type it in as if it's a real thing and nobody knows, Right. Anyways, the Apple Watch, according to the Bring Angelica Home Facebook group, the Apple Watch last pinged near a trailhead beyond where her vehicle was parked. Yes, and then they actually provided GPS coordinates in this document where it says that's the GPS coordinates of the Apple Watch ping area. Right? And so that is right here. This one. So after being parked here, this is where the Apple Watch pinged, and they're really accurate. Like so this is the spot. It's not like it could have been there, but it looked like she was there. Let's see. And then, yeah, I get the timing on that stuff confused, Cindy, too, sometimes. But yeah, they didn't have her phone yet. That's how they located the car with the phone in it, by somehow an older phone was somehow still connected somehow. Or maybe there's another, a cloud association with a watch, It allows you to look at that. It's not necessarily like you have to be attached to the phone, but maybe just having your Apple phone and it's signed on to that account, you can see that kind of information. I actually think it does work like that. Then, so that this is where she was. And if she's over here, she probably wasn't going this way. And then if you go down, there's literally a path right in there. And then there's this little bridge inside of here. I think you have to go back the other direction a little bit. There was this little bridge back here that you walk around. Like there's the pond. You're on the other side of it. See? And then you keep going. Yeah, there's the bridge over there. I think we might have already crossed it. I mean, there's just so many places she could have gone. You walk way up in the woods and you sort of go behind a tree or something, and you look up there and you don't see anything, so you go, yep, there's nothing up there. I don't need to take in mind anything. I've got it all, it's all in my head. Got it figured out. Yep, traffic shitty. Google Maps actually puts that in there. I always go, what do you mean an hour? Well, because we have it going 30 mile an hour average, even though it's 60 miles an hour. That's how they put it in there. Oh, God, Cindy. I can't stand when people say that. Let me be the first to say it. Something just doesn't add up. Oh, boy. It's still being added up. There's nothing that doesn't make sense. We just have to figure out what it means, like how it fits into the puzzle. It's not it's not one of those ones where, whoa, something, doesn't add up. Like there's a 1 over here. It should have equaled 2, but it's 3. Okay. There's nothing like that at all. It's really just kind of, these are the pieces of the puzzle that we have. What does it mean? And that is what we do on this channel, is figure out based on what is, more likely, and we pick the one that's way more likely, not it's 50-50. It's like what's way more likely, and then you go in that direction. But hey, guys, if you could help support the channel again for the 19th time, I would appreciate it. We're having these massive lulls where it's really hard to do it. We're currently at 1/5 of a nightly goal, so I'd appreciate it if you consider maybe buying some memberships for other people who can't afford them. All right, let's see. I think there's another... There's that little bridge I was talking about. So it's short of the pond. You can see the pond over there. And her car was parked like out and around and over. It's over there. I don't even know if they have. Yeah, there isn't anything. Well, maybe there was one right there. So this is the parking area is right over there. She was parked right there, back there, right over here, almost where that brown, darker car is right there. And then, walked exactly where these people are walking, and then kept going over here, this direction. I'm not sure they're going to let me do that. Yeah, I guess so. And then right here, she doesn't apparently go around to the left. She goes this way. Let's see. Frogs and tadpoles must not be disturbed. Okay. That's California for you. And then you go this way. And, wherever she went up there. I think that's... Jesus, man, what in God's name? It's incredible. People are upside down. And yes. What does it have to do with anything? P. Soley. Developing theories from facts and logic, not imagination. Right, exactly. We use logic, reason, and common sense to theorize in cases. And this isn't a case like I'm not saying, I don't have any thoughts about the husband or anything like that. But you go to these Facebook pages and people are like, where was the husband? What was he doing? It's just so classic. It's almost embarrassing. I'm not saying there isn't a possibility, but it's like there's nothing so far that's been presented in this case that indicates that the husband, there's not even like, oh, that's interesting. Nothing has indicated at all that her husband has anything to do with anything. And so that's where I just start getting, frustrated with people. It's like, what is it? What is the piece of information you got? Well, I don't know. It's just a gut feeling. Okay, where your gut feeling isn't worth shit. Okay. This is a case where, she's by herself when she shows up there. She was by herself at the casino. And then apparently the next car that drove in was an hour later, according to Chad. So that's what the reality is right there. Well, maybe she didn't want to do that. She wanted to go in there. I don't know where the page... Does anybody know on this map where the gate is? He said it was like 2 miles somewhere. Is it back here, maybe? Oh, yeah, maybe it's over here. Okay, so you might... State Park Road. Maybe... And you take the State Park Road. What the hell? And then you drive up here. I bet it's coming up. Oh, there it is. Right there. The entrance station. Jeez. I guess that's pretty obvious. I had to go back up and find... Right there. No, that wasn't what was... That's not the... Let me go over here. There we go. And turn around. And there you go. That's exactly right. That's the same way it is at Abandoned Dunes. This is exactly what I was picturing. Just like this. And then... I don't know. Usually you can sort of hand something to somebody. So I don't... Let's keep looking around. It seems... But this is kind of how I was picturing the station being. I mean, do you just walk right up to there and I don't know. Let's keep going down the road a little bit. Yeah, well, sometimes it's not manned, apparently. Okay, what's a bathroom? Now that's way out of there. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's probably the spot, right? Right here. And then you come around this corner. What does it look like right on that corner? Maybe right here. You guys, we're having these massive lulls. You guys see that in here? If you could please help support the channel, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, and so that would say, okay, so it's 1.8 miles to that pond, and he was saying like 2 miles back, and that's kind of where that station was. Just back up that way. Yeah, just right there. So it sort of seems close to being. Yeah, it's almost exactly 2 miles from here, and then 1.8 from right there. So I think that is the entrance station. So I'm not sure how that works, you know. Usually you pull up and there's somebody that's sitting there and hands you something, but there really isn't any. I mean, she must have got out. Okay. I'm not sure. Just wondering if it will go through. No, because what you're sending it through is on a phone. It's not even my phone. It's just sort of using Google phone. If you're out there, Boulder, it's not going to work that way. You got to send an email. Oh, I just see it did work though. I see it. Okay, cool. Let me save this out. He sent me the map. That does work. It does work. Thanks, Karen, for the PayPal. Let's see this one. Is there a video of the car? I'd like to see that. I'm trying to find what he just sent me. Doesn't seem. Oh wait, that's a different folder. That's probably. Jeez. I don't know. For some reason, that doesn't really. It's not working. Download. Oh yeah, he doesn't name it anything. Let me just name it like P or JPEG. Oh yeah, so that worked. So this is where he was walking. And so what we can do with that is I can I can see it. What else does he have? Okay. He's got some pictures here. Pretty cool. Yeah, I don't think he went really too far. He hiked right around the immediate area. Now that I look at it. All right, guys, we still remain at 1/6 of the nightly goal. So if you guys could help support the channel, I would appreciate it. So instead of me having to ask over and over again, I don't know what to say differently. I spend like a lot of the day trying to get this stuff together. We don't get the crowds enough where the ad revenue makes a difference. So it's really up to you guys. So I would appreciate it if you would support the channel, because it really takes away from me doing it, because I have to keep focusing in on that, because that's how the channel survives. All right. I don't know, Sandy. I'm trying to get the support for the channel up. So yeah, let's see. All right. Ah, Jesus. I'll load that stuff up later. Let me just keep going back through this again. So the watch pinged at the trailhead there. And then it says the last confirmed surveillance footage was from Harrah's Resort. And that's where she turned off her phone. And she's seen there. She entered Palmer Mountain State Park alone in her vehicle. According to Chad, the guy that runs the booth or whatever. There's no evidence of foul play has been identified at her vehicle. The investigation remains active. And then inside of her vehicle, it looks like the driver's side was pushed back. And, well, of course she's still out there. They haven't found her yet. That's... what are you talking about, Cindy? Well, I'll just catch this later. What are you talking about? My screen keyboard got small and floats. Do you know how to fix it? I don't know what that means. Yeah, I mean, of course she's still out there. You know what I mean? Let's see, image for... I'm trying to get the answer to the time of when the watch pinged, for lack of a better term, when did the watch, because she could have been sitting in her car for an hour, 2 hours, who the hell knows? She could have sat there for, 3 hours, because we don't actually have the time of, we just sort of assumed at the beginning, like, okay, or she gets there at 4:20 and then immediately starts walking, but we don't know the time that her watch, and the thing is, if she got there and she sat in her car, that means her watch would continue to ping or, send GPS signals for the whole time it's sitting there. And then as she starts moving, it would send more and more and more, but then apparently it stops at some point. So, how long was it? I think that's a big piece of information. That's probably the biggest piece. That's a knowable thing that somebody has in terms of the timing. Now, the purpose of the trip, why did Angelica drive to Palmer Mountain? And these are questions they're asking. Hera Resort, how long was Angelica at Hera's Resort? Was anyone with her there? Where is her Apple Watch? Were there any other movements or communications on July 6th? If you drove or rode a bicycle on near Palmer Mountain between 2 p.m. and 6 on Monday, July 6th, please review any dash cam or cycling footage. So you had that, and Boulder he keeps sending me different images. So I'm just downloading them as they come in. Who's this channel? Hope it's not. Oh, that guy? Let's see. Okay, so he drove up there. Some guy named Mark the Shark. But it doesn't, that video doesn't have anything. And I don't know which video it is that has that information. He doesn't. He has a whole bunch of different videos. Now that might be a good one, I guess.
Okay, here we go. Camp. After
he does seem to be filming the same ticket place that I just showed you guys a minute ago. Okay, they're just doing the same thing any of us are doing. Guessing at what they're looking at inside the car. Yeah, it's not like he's not the guy that filmed it.
and
He's just showing different video of that other people took. But I did see that one. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, casino rewards program is what it was. I think we're going to be looking at it here in a second. These three things here were really good. Was Angelica's daughter pick up a range? Yes, according to that Facebook page. Another parent was already scheduled, and the people on the Facebook page that run it are actually like friends and so forth. So it's not like just rando people. Was already scheduled to pick up Angelica's daughter. The carpool arrangement was made that morning. Why isn't Angelica's husband searching? He is. Her husband is leading search efforts and being present for their children. We, as members of their village, I hate terms like that, have stepped up to manage the media aspect of her case. Angelica's brother, Martin, and Ramon are also assisting with search coordination and media updates. How do we know Angelica entered Palmer Mountain State Park? A parking attendant named Chad, that's what we just got from Boulder, confirmed Angelica purchased a parking pass on July 6th. Although the parking station often operates on the honor system, an attendant was present that day and was able to identify Angelica. And he just noticed that there was one person. Now, she must have got out of her... I don't know if the guy gets out of their car and walks over there to you or something. I mean, I'm not really sure how that works. It's not like one of those ones you can drive up. And then he also said that only one car came later. And it was like an hour later, another vehicle showed up. But, you know, what's interesting is, like, again, like, how she could have been sitting there that whole hour. You know that? How about, you know, I'll tell you what would be more interesting is when did that other car leave? The one that came up after that, an hour. So now there is a car, right? Didn't he say that? That another car came up an hour later? And if a car did come up an hour later, could that be a car that she eventually got into and then that car left? I mean, that is sort of crazy because all the other stuff she's doing is she's not wanting to be tracked there. You know? But then why wouldn't... Let me just say this, though. Let's say you're leaving with somebody else. Right? Let's say you're leaving with somebody else. Why would you leave your wallet and passport and things like that? What's the purpose of not taking that with you? See, that's still, you know, so we're just guessing on this hour thing. Yeah, that's one of the things that maybe she lost money. She was hiding that she gambled a lot from her husband or something, and, you know, kind of lost too much. You know, the investigators know all of this, information. You know what? Maybe she is chucking a Maddie. Maybe she is out there somewhere. Where was Angelica between 9:30 and 3:40? Unknown. Her movements during that time have not been publicly established. So that was 9:30 in the morning to 3:40. Law enforcement knows, because they know exactly when she got to the hotel, and they know when she left, and they know that she left alone, and they know that she showed up to the park alone. You know, but when you look at the picture that we were just sent, or Cindy sent it, this one right here. See that? It kind of looks like her seat is back further than that one. It doesn't mean it slid back. It mean this one could be that a kid was in it, so they slid up really far. But this back appears to be back. But also, cameras sometimes film stuff in a way that it looks like stuff like that. But it does kind of appear like it's back. So maybe she just was sitting there for a while, you know, facing, you know, she's back in and she's facing out and just sort of watching, you know, sitting there for a while. Maybe she, I don't know. I was going to say maybe she took whatever drug she was going to take while sitting there, and then, but then she'd be so much closer, it seems like, to the vehicle. It's crazy. An Apple Watch, you mean? Who are you talking to? Me? It's literally strapped on my arm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's most women would not go hiking without a phone with them. Yeah. Let's see. My car seat automatically goes back when I shut off my car. Mine actually, if somebody goes in and adjusts everything, I sit down and it recognizes me and then puts everything back where it's supposed to be. On the daily. Well, that's what I brought up the other day. Apparently, she does. Her husband said that she often would have her passport with her. Why? I don't know. Yeah. Her husband did say that, though. Theory about being able to see the area. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is this is a spot like last night during the show. I was like, maybe she walked over here somewhere up on a ridge, because she can see down like that, and then her house is just right over there. See, that's her home. So if you think about it, from up there, you can actually, if you had a telescope or whatever, I mean, you can look right out over home sitting up here. And this almost looks just like that other area. That's not strange. That's just what she did. Yeah, I don't think it's strange that she did that. That's, if somebody doesn't want to be tracked, that's exactly what you would do, I think the wording is just, yeah, it makes sense that she didn't want to be tracked by her husband or anybody. She didn't want anybody to know where she was, so she turned off her phone and then drove up there, That's what makes sense. What do you mean it would make more sense? Yeah, all right. Let's see. Makes more sense if it was her passport card. Well, of course it's her passport card. I mean, I'm not sure what you're saying there. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Uh-huh. Yeah, she didn't. All right, let's go back up to here again. Now, why isn't Angela's husband... Okay, we already did it. How do we know Angela entered the polymer? Yes, the guy, the attendant named Chad, said he, gave her their little pass, etc. And then they don't know what is going on. The public doesn't know between 9:30 and 3:40. except it's obvious she's in the casino, so law enforcement has pictures of her. And they know that she was spending rewards points, which is likely gambling inside the casino. And that's how you build up the points, is by gambling. And the thing is we all know how reward points work, right? Like, you have to fly, 300,000 miles to get, whatever, right? Like, then you can get a free flight somewhere or something. I'm sure it's less than that. I'm just saying. So that means, like, to get gambling points, you'd have to gamble and spend a shitload to have enough points to even want to go to a casino and start spending it. Right? Like, okay, let's go. I got $100. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to spend some money. Okay, well, probably to get $100, you had to spend 10 grand, to get $100 in rewards points. Yeah, let's see. Casinos give out free credit cards to get a person to stay and gamble. It's not the same as credit card points. Okay, yeah, so why bring it up? You know what I mean? These are reward points. Could Angelica have hiked and still made it to work? Yes. I've already done the math on that. If she got up there at 4:20? If she got up there at 4:20, let's say parked at 4:30, and hiked for a half hour, or even an hour, that's 5:30, and it takes an hour and 10 minutes to get from there to her work, and so that would be 6:10, or 6:40, right? If you do the math there. So that means she would have got to work at 6:40, even if she hiked for an hour. So yes, that does work. What doesn't work is that she turned her phone off at the casino, didn't charge it while driving, if it did die, didn't charge it while driving, and everybody knows that everybody looks at their phone all the time. I don't, Gray, I really don't. I guarantee you do. Everybody looks at their phone, and so then she drives up there, and then doesn't even take her phone with her hiking. In fact, only takes her keys and her clothing that she's wearing and the watch. That's it. So whatever she was doing, she didn't want to be tracked. That's what we know for certain. That's a certainty. Hey, look at that. It's Marty's Bar and Grill with a challenge attempt. Our first one of the night, if you can believe that. So that means that 5 people gift just one channel membership or a $5 super chat, 5 of you. He'll donate 10 in coffee. So 10 different $50 worth. So you just have, if 5 of you do 5, he'll do 50. Let's put it that way. So the only way that happens, though, is if 5 of you actually do that. And, since I've asked a few times tonight and it hasn't landed on any ears that cared, we're trying to get 5 on this one. Okay, so we've got Chicken Wing did one. Thank you. All right. Is Angelica familiar with the area? Yes. She was there on March 30th and did a walk. And she literally, I have it mapped out on the screen. So if you're just watching this for the first time, I have this little red route here is exactly the route that she took. In fact, if I put it on here, see that? See how this, you can see on the screen, see how it's blinking on and off? That was another map that has her route on it, which was from, let's see. I think it's, is it this one? Yeah, this one right here. So that's her route up there. And she goes, so she went like this all the way up, which is sort of interesting. You know why it's interesting? Because, when she goes, here's that pond, and she kind of goes this way, right? So look, just follow where I'm going here. Let's just say there's a path somewhere. There is a path that goes through here. And then look, right here is the start of that walk that she took that other day, back in March. And then went all the way up there and then down like this. So she knows that area well. So it's interesting that people have checked that area out. All right, guys, we need 4 more of those gifted memberships up there to activate Marty's challenge that he put forth. With any freaks out there, consider doing that so we can reach that. That would be great. So apparently she walked all the way up here, and if you look down here, there are paths, these little, see that? I'm pretty sure that's what that is. It's just kind of a worn, see this path that goes all the way down. So I think the one on the right is almost precisely, see that? I mean, that goes right along that path. This one here, there is a path there. See that? It goes like that. Don't know exactly where it goes up into here. There does seem to be a little bit going there, but I don't think that doesn't match that. So there must be some other thing, path up in that area. And then she came out and then met up generally with that other path and then went up here and then just sort of turned around. I wonder if they checked this. They should have. I mean, you would think they would have checked these woods here. And I don't know, that wouldn't be a spot. That wouldn't make any sense. All right, so now this is a really dense wooded area here. I think it'd be very difficult to search up in there. Let me see if there's any kind of... Yeah, there's nothing there. What happens if I... Yeah, that's... I think there's some 360 down here somewhere. I'd like to just even look up there if I could. Yeah, right there. See that? 360 right in here. And so I was thinking that she went over here. See that spot up in there? That's where I think. Hey, thanks, Michelle H. Hey, just need 3 now. Yeah, that's exactly what I think. So if we go up from, if we go up from right there, that's where that was, and it's looking right up there. See that? You go up into here, and then that's where you start, you can see down to where she lived. So I could see her sort of setting up, going up to one of these high peaks up here, maybe, up in this area, and just kind of sitting there. And I mean, my idea is that she, at work, she has access to various drugs up there, and I could see her kind of preparing for that. Maybe that's why she had lunch the day before with a friend. It was more like she just wanted to see her friend one last time and didn't really say anything, just was like, and then sent that message to her nurse friends saying, hey, I want to thank you guys for all what you guys have done. And then she drives up after, it's sort of a last hurrah day at the casino. Sure, she's supposed to meet somebody, but that's not what her plans were. And then she drives up there, and she sits there for a while, maybe contemplating, who knows. We don't know. I'll tell you what, I need to know the time of the GPS ping on the watch. That's a huge piece of information that would really sort of inform more information. Yeah, I know, Jason. We were talking about that earlier. Did you go back and listen to the interview with the guy Boulder that called in? He actually talked to the ranger, or the guy that sold the pass. And he went there and he said that he could smell, it couldn't smell anything when he was there. Boulder said. All right, let's just keep doing these again. Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. A challenge met. So we got 6 Kids UK, Honeybee Fly, Nurse Up, and also Michelle H. Now, again, like if you're just new here, and the reason it sort of, like I get frustrating when we can't reach the goals and so forth, is if you look right here, this channel has donated out of the income from the channel $301,612 since January of 2020. So far this year, we've given out of the income $21,500. But $301,000 is ridiculous. I mean, think about that. So we go out and we have a DNA fund, we have a scholarship fund, and we donate to places like Texas EquiSearch, RAIN, NCMEC, etc. out of the income from the channel. Those guys have all gotten over $30,000 apiece. NCMEC, RAIN, and Texas EquiSearch. So we've made a big difference out there, and I try to, bring in income on my shows to help support my channel, and also be able to do all these things. So that's just the way it is. I guess someday maybe I can't do that, but I'm still trying to do it. And thank you for all the, everybody that's always helping and stuff like that. Thank you, Marty, everybody out there that's doing that. I actually don't like asking all the time. I hate it, but I can see where a show's going sometimes, and we got to keep moving. So that's just the way it is. People don't like it, but we've done great things. We even have a scholarship fund that we've given students $24,000. And then we're building up for the 5th set. We do 3 $2,000 scholarships per whenever we get the 6,000 in there. So it might be twice a year, might be once, depends. Does that matter to you guys? Again, we don't see any comments related to anything that I'm saying. All right, let's get back to the... So this is the page 1 of 3. And this says, what was Angelica doing at Harrah's? According to her family, Angelica went to Harrah Resort, Southern California, to use her Harrah rewards. So there's the answer to that question. If you're out there and you weren't aware of that, that's right there. I mean, in this website, the Bring Angelica, her last name's hard to remember for you, Brophy Home. Those are like the friends and family members that put that together. So, and then it says, why wasn't Angelica reported missing until 9:30? Angelica failed to report for the scheduled 7 p.m. shift. When she could not be reached, she was reported missing later that evening. See, that's sort of different than what was reported by an outlet who said that her husband, like the people at the office realized that the husband was looking for her, had called there and said, hey, have you seen her? So they didn't call anybody, but he's the one that initiated the calling in because it sounded like maybe they were supposed to meet up earlier or something. I mean, I don't know how she was going to fit all... I guess here's the thing. You drop your kid off at 9:30 in the morning, and if your husband doesn't know about all the other stuff you're going to do, it seems reasonable that you might have dinner at 4:30 or 5 o'clock or something. Maybe even have dinner at 5:45, and you could eat for 45 minutes, and she'd still make it to work on time since it's only 25 minutes from her house to get to work. So it's just, if you look at it like that, that makes sense. That he'd be like, well, where the hell is she? And then calls around, and she's not at work, and then he eventually calls the police and says, hey, my wife's missing. And then people are like, well, how come he didn't go look up there because she'd been there before? What are you talking about, man? Do you think he's supposed to remember, hey, I bet she's up there at that hiking spot she went to those couple times? I mean, that's ridiculous. Why would that be the first thought anybody would have? You know, why would the husband go, I wonder if she's up at that hiking spot? That's like an illogical thought that somebody would have. It would be, it's crazy. You know, you don't know where she is because she turned her phone off. What about the vehicle GPS? I mean, maybe that vehicle has some kind of, it's a 2020, it seems like. So it might have something in there. I mean, maybe if it was connected to the radio or something. Could she be? Yes, I think 1 in a million she could be in a mountain lion den. If you want to go with that, then you go right ahead. I'm going to go with something else. Cut to the next scene in the movie. She's found in a mountain lion den. Okay, well, I won't eat crow because the odds of that are 1 in a million. Okay. That's just not likely. But, you know, nobody knows. Until she's found, we don't know where she's at. And then we move forward. Here, number 2 was, what is OPP? What are the police doing? They're looking at surveillance, determining her movements. I wish I could be part of that team. I think I just kill it on that one. Continue coordination with search and rescue and partners. What was in her vehicle? Cell phone, wallet, cash, purse, passport, Stanley water cup. I think it was very essential that they told us that it was a Stanley water cup instead of a Bob Big Boy water cup. You know, that makes a huge difference in the case. Thank you very much. Whether work clothes or other work-related items were in the vehicle has not been publicly confirmed. Why wasn't the vehicle removed immediately? The vehicle remained at the trailhead until July 15th. That website stated it was intentionally left there in case Angelica returned. So I thought that was sort of an interesting element. So what it kind of makes it seem like is they believe that she wandered off alone somewhere. Likely, you know, and that maybe somehow she'll find her way back. You know, you could also say that, I mean, it's just not very likely, but, you know, she goes out there and she sort of walks off the trail and then she got lost and she's some way really far away. But you know what? If you're over there and you walk in a straight line, at some point you run into a house. I mean, that's just the truth, right? Like you could be over here and you just start walking and walking and walking and walking and oh, look at that. There's all this stuff over here. Okay, and then you're over here and you went the way she went hiking and you start walking. That way is a little bit more crazy. And eventually you end up at a highway over here somewhere. But, you know, it's not a million miles or anything. Like, let's see. Let me put the, do I have that still in there? We could do the circle. So that's 8 miles, like that. So inside that 8 mile, I guess the maximum would be here. 12 miles would be that she'd make it to that portion. But look how much inside of, most of it, inside of that huge circle, bunch of stuff over here. You know, over here, you know, you're going to cross a highway. It's just not easy to be lost for a long time if you just walk in a straight line. And eventually you'll run into paths or roads too, right? So that's another thing to look at. So I think it's just more of a thing where she went somewhere and she intentionally put herself somewhere where she can't be found. I don't know why she doesn't want to be found after the fact, I guess. But, I don't know. Kind of seems that way, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Dan? Why wasn't the vehicle removed immediately? Okay, what was the vehicle taped off or fingerprinted? I don't know. Jeez. Where did the Apple Watch last ping? They stated it last known Apple Watch ping was near Doan Pond. And I showed you where that was. It's really interesting how it actually ends up going towards where her walk began, that one on the 30th of March. Has Angelica's cell phone been recovered? Yes. According to Angelica's cell phone was recovered from her vehicle. I don't see it in that picture, but I think it's already gone by then. You know, so like when people were there taking pictures of the vehicle, law enforcement and the family had already got there and they had taken the phone. So we don't get to see what it looked like in, quote, pristine condition. In fact, her purse isn't even in there anymore, I'm certain. So I think when family got there, because they're the ones that, they got an old phone out, they turned it on, and were able to locate that Angelica's watch was at the park. And then went there. They drove up there. There's her vehicle. And then they opened the car up. They took the purse and the wallet and everything. I'm certain of that. And then then contacted law enforcement. And then they worked together to see what was on it and so forth. But that's why when you look at the picture there, there's nothing on it. There's nothing in it, I mean. That doesn't make any sense, Elena. It's not interesting. We've already talked about all that, you know. You can say what you think, but yeah. I don't think she went hiking. She backed in to wait for someone to arrive by foot or car or bike, and then she left. Okay, right. So somebody like hiked through the woods and then she left like that. Sure. Yeah, we already talked about, yeah, it's possible. We don't know. It's just not likely at all what you're saying there. You know, she just backs in and just sits there, and like, how long did she sit there for? That's what we don't know. But here's what we do know. At some point, she walked into the woods, right? Yeah, we know that. Not sure why that's still on the screen there. Yeah, maybe she took one of those new Joby aircrafts in there. Like it was a drone, the 4 propeller ones, and it landed, and she got in that. Yeah, I'm sure you do, Jack. We already talked about that as a possible theory earlier in the show. I'm just saying, I don't know how more likely that is, like to be like, ooh, it's interesting. I actually said the exact same thing that she said about 45 minutes ago. You know, literally the exact sentences. You know, that she backed in. Maybe she was waiting for somebody to come. Well, it looks like there was another car that came an hour later. Maybe that's the person that she left with. But then you'd say, well, why didn't she take at least her purse with her to have her ID? You know, she's going to need her ID and so forth later if she's taking off with somebody. But all she had was her watch and her, you know, so was it a, you know, then I said, well, you think it's somebody who just came out of the woods and met her there? So we went over that whole thing, you know. So I'm glad you're able to repeat verbatim what we said earlier. If she self-harmed with medication, do you think it was planned? Yeah. Yeah, I think it was obviously planned before she went to the casino, yeah. I think she already knew what she was doing on the 5th. I think she had lunch with that friend just as a sort of, you know, a goodbye without saying goodbye to the person. You know? Hey, look at that. It's Jim Lawn. How's it going, Jim Lawn? Yeah, and so while what Elena's saying, and the same thing that I said about an hour ago or so, is possible. I'm just not sure. Like, it doesn't make sense, you know? Sure, she backed in. I thought it was weird that she backed in a couple days ago. You know, she backs in, and now that you see that maybe the seat's back a little bit, you know, she just sort of sitting there contemplating, getting up her courage. And then at some point, she does get out of the car and start walking over by the pond with her watch. So when we say she didn't go hiking, I don't think she went, quote, hiking. I never thought she went hiking. I think she went somewhere. You know, I guess it means that she had to walk there, if you want to call that hiking. I wouldn't call, like, if somebody's walking somewhere to take their life, do you call that hiking? You know, I don't call it hiking. It's like she's going somewhere, you know. Right, she didn't take her money. Yeah, why wouldn't you take your cash with you that's in the car? Does that make any sense that she would leave that by? Now, you might say she was, a theory that sort of combines all that would be that she backed in and was waiting for a person to show up. Maybe that is the car that drove up an hour later. And then they go off into the woods to, you know, whatever, goof around or something. But that person did something. But where is she then? Okay, because that's what I was thinking about earlier today. So let's say he assaulted her and killed her or something like that in the park. Well, he would have had to carry her. That's very difficult to do. If somebody's not alive and they weigh like 135 pounds or something, to move her so far away that nobody that's been there has been able to, been able to find her yet. That'd be pretty difficult, don't you think? Now, they've tried dogs, but none of them, they say the dogs didn't hit. And I guess maybe 3 days later, you know, I'm sure her scent's in the car, but then 3 days later with the winds and so forth, I think it'd be difficult for a dog to track her where she went after that. Don't you agree? It seems like, oh, wait, the bottom of her shoes are going to have like this scent on it that hit the ground that's still sitting there 3 days later. I don't know. Was the phone intentionally turned off? It's unknown. They have not stated where the phone was. They know, though. I think it's sort of obvious that it was turned off intentionally. You know why? Because it was turned off. It disconnected at the hotel. So before she left the casino, the phone stopped communicating with cell towers, and it absolutely necessarily would have communicated with cell towers at that casino. And because it's not doing that, that means she turned, and the reason I think she turned it off because she would have noticed, oh, my phone's dead, and then would have, when she got in her car, would have charged the damn thing, right? And I think we see that in that picture, let's go look at that. I think that kind of looks like a charger cable that goes into, like usually inside here, there's a USB thing that you can plug it into. So that's probably a charger cable there. But yeah, most of the stuff was taken out of the car that's of value, like for us. So there wouldn't be still a cell phone sitting in here. I'm not sure why I was even thinking of looking for that earlier. You know, this is somebody that showed up after it made the news, and they come out, and the car was there till the 15th. So, yeah, of course, you're going to look in there, but nothing like the purse and the passport and the phone and all that stuff was taken away for investigative reasons. So that's almost not even a valuable. And truthfully, this seat here could have been moved back by one of the officers who maybe got into the car and wanted to check some things out, and they couldn't fit because it was squeezed up there. So they sat there, and, or maybe a family member. When they got into the car, they turned the car on because they wanted to look at something, but it's hard to turn a car on when you can't fit there, right? So you'd slide the seat back to fit in there. Doesn't that make sense? Why does it have to be that she slid it back and, I guess the back is still back, so maybe that was a thing, but maybe it's moved back a little bit so that somebody else could sit in there when they got there, because obviously other people got into the car. Yeah, not saying that absolutely is the case, but definitely something. Yeah. All right, everybody, hit that like button, you guys. We've only got 100 likes. Here we go. Hit that like button, 10, 20, 25, 30. Hit that like button, 40. It's the easiest damn thing to do in the world. Use your nose, use your toes, whatever blows. Hit that like button. It's so damn simple. You literally just take your finger and you press the button. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, we got 1 out of that. And lost 3 people watching. I can't believe he did that. I'm leaving. What a bastard. I can't believe he did the auctioneer. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not really, I just think she's ready to go. I think it was a last hurrah. Who knows what would have happened if she'd won, though. You'd want to go, hey, and give the money. Maybe she would have put it off. It's not really a... Let's see. All right. I'm going to go to the last one again here. Not that one. It was 3. Is there another one? 3 of 3. Besides the gray shirt and black leggings, what was Angelica wearing? Unknown. I mean, she did have her watch on. Or, we're assuming. And, had keys with her. Share official flyers and updates. Participate in organize. Yeah, this is all. There's a GoFundMe. Blah blah blah. This whole thing here. All right. So let's take a look at some of the pictures that Boulder sent in here, and then I have another one we could go try to find something out. Yeah, it is really cool out there, isn't it? That's that. So. He's on the other side of the pond in this one. So around that corner is where she parked, I think. I mean, I'm just trying to... I think that visually makes sense to me. Let's see if you go... Yeah. So I think he's kind of like in that shot. Down here, maybe. I'm just guessing. Yeah, that's it. As a matter of fact, it's perfect. Look at that. Can I get a boom chakalaka? Yeah, it's like exactly where it is. The mountain range, everything. The big tree right there. And there. All right, got that one. Then the next one is this one. Yeah, I think that's... I don't know if that's kind of... I think we saw that earlier in like as you're leaving. Self-registration. Parking $10. So I guess, is there a machine? Oh, what's that right there? Let me see if I can go find that again there. Because now it looks like there's this little box thing out there that you could... I wonder when the street view is, so it might be really kind of older. Yeah, this is September 2025. Oh, right there, yeah. Didn't see that. So, obviously you put your money in there, and then what's there a guy just sitting over here in the window? And not really sure how that works. But yeah, looks like there's this little thing. Wait a minute. But that's on the wrong side of the car. Not really sure how that works. I guess if you came in from this way, you'd want to please park to the right and pay inside. So I guess you had to, if you went inside and paid probably then. But hey guys, if you're out there, if you could please help support the channel, I'd appreciate it. As I said earlier, the channel relies on the people watching. We're currently at 1/4 of a nightly goal, so that would be very, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know if that's the... But anyways, the guy's name is Chad that was there. All right, and this is where he said he hiked, or he walked around. So basically, he didn't really go off that far. He just walked along the edges. You know, he kind of, like, here's the pond, and he walked all the way around like this. They're all kind of just draw the area where he walked. He walked quite a bit around just sort of here, you know, around in this area. You know, he was basically walking around, but then he was up here, and then he sort of followed along the whole way around. Yeah, I think all the way down like this. And then it sort of seems like he came around a little bit into the tree line and then kind of over there like that. And then up, and then right over in this general area, he kind of came around like this, and then up, and a little bit over here, and then kind of like that. And that's basically where he was. Right there. Yeah. So that's, they completely, you know, like, that's not even where she was walking. You know, the area that I was wondering about the first day was over here, too. So maybe if you want, you can continue to go over into this area. And thanks, Marty, for the coffee earlier. And then, but this is where she knew about. And then this area over here is the area where we were just kind of looking at last night. You know, you walk up here and, you know, heck, just right in here, it's kind of clear. Walk up there, and then you just, I guess you just kind of continue. I'm not sure if there's a way to do it, though, you know. I mean, we're saying that, but is this really thick stuff? I mean, you might need a path, but I guess, let's see. You come up here, maybe through, up, and you go to that, there's a church right over here, even. believe it or not, it's the Polymer Christian Conference Center. I'm not sure if it's a church or what it is, but you come up here, and then maybe, not far from there, if you wander off right over there, that's where you get the view of kind of where you live over there. Yeah, I mean, what you said earlier, Jason, sure, if she'd won something, maybe that would have made her feel something different. Maybe that was her hope. I'm gonna do this today. If I win, that's God saying no. But she didn't win, and so she still went and did what she did. Yeah. It's a facility for Christian retreats. That's kind of interesting that that's there, though, isn't it? Just right there, kind of in a random place. I'm not even sure how you... I mean, there's a road, kind of, I guess. How do you get there? It looks like there's a road that comes in over here from down there. All right. Well, let's go back to originally we were listening. So let's listen to a couple of these news reports. I don't know. Like a quarter mile, half mile or something. I'm not sure that matters. Let me play this right here.
Of Angelica's are out in the July 6th. So here we are, 10 days. No word on her whereabouts. Angelica Brophy, there's a picture of her right there on your screen, 44 years old. And this morning, so many loved ones, friends, family of Angelica's are out in the Palomar Mountain area searching for her. This search started at 9 o'clock, so about 47 minutes in. Our photographer who's there on the scene is I'm waiting to find out how many people might be up there in the mountains helping in this search. We know search and rescue crews have been...
Oh, yeah. So let's see. Where is the... So you know where the station is right here? The entrance station? So you buy your pass right there. Then you go over here, and then you take this right. So right at that little junction here, you turn to the right and go that way. All right, but if you keep going straight, so you're on this road here, highway, I guess it's Highway 57 at that point. I think back here it's called like, yeah, that's right, State Park Road. But then I think right at that intersection it changes to a highway. Oh, it still says Highway 57 there. So you take Highway 57, but it looks like if you veer off right at the same intersection that you would go to the park, if you turn left there, that takes you up to that church. Now no, that's something. Is that a different place? No, that's where the cell tower is. I was looking up. Where was I looking at here? Right there. Okay. All right. I gotta back up. I think it was the same. So it looks kind of like it's the same place then. So that's where the cell tower is. So right here, if you turn right, this gets you going to the park. But then at a certain point, it looks like there must be a place right there, maybe? That looks like it. Let's see. So when you go straight to get to the park, but if you turn left there, that takes you to that church. Let's see if it says that. Yeah, Christian Conference Center. So I guess not really a church, but up here, right? Are you guys here? I see that I commented about 5 minutes ago, and I'm the last comment. That's usually a good time to get going. Yeah. Anyway, so that gets you up to that area there. Yeah, so Boulder that was here, he did this area. And he didn't really go into the woods. And so then this is the area that she went walking on back in March. And where she went walking on, it matches where she was going with her watch, because her watch kind of goes off this direction, like this. And so that head, if you go over in that direction, it goes right to the start of her walk that she took in March. So that's an area that she knew. So maybe she used part of the walk to get her to wherever she ended up going. See? Like she took that, made that walk. She knew it. And then she still goes up here, but then she goes off further. It'd be interesting to see if any of her other trips out there, if she knew more, went to different more locations, I guess. What's that? Is that a... That's kind of interesting. I don't think she uses Google Maps or anything, but you get to that road and then you're way up here. And then you could be anywhere up here. Maybe that's when you then sort of veer off and head on up over here and kind of, because this looks easy to get through. See that? Look how sparse this is. Man, okay. Let me go back. I'm going to sort of draw what I think is a possibility where she could go. Let's just start from here. And let's say she kind of goes up, not there. Let me move this over here like that. Let's just say from here, she kind of meanders up like that. Somewhere through here, then makes her way to this road there. And then on that road, kind of just walks up here. Really easy to get through all this stuff. And then eventually kind of comes out up there. And then maybe even continues along that, goes this direction. Like that. And then, heck, it looks like you can just keep going around. Following it around like this, down. And then you're sort of in that, you're getting near that space that we were talking about. See that? Kind of coming around. And then you're avoiding having to go through that really thick crap. Let's see, and then what's right over here? Yeah, she could have just kept going around. And then maybe just made her way up into here. And then, I don't know, just sort of worked your way right to that edge. You're getting into that park area at this point. Not the park, but that view that we were talking about. So maybe continued up around. Look at, there's this almost like a road that was up there. I wonder if they even went up here. And then you're right at the edge of the park here. Isn't that interesting? And then you're just sort of up here and you're looking down over, and then there's even, the road keeps going, so it could have been, down in there somewhere. Because see how it goes there and then it sort of stops, I wonder if they've checked down there. Just a little spot, just sitting in the open, maybe in the sun, and you're just sort of looking out over where she lives, because her house is right over here. I wonder how far that is. Let me see how long that was. I'm already going to measure it. Jesus. Yeah, so that's 4 miles there. So that would probably put her like 5. Because this route right here is 4 point something miles all the way to there and then back around. So I would say from here to there, and if you did that same thing, maybe 6 miles total, something like that. I don't know. All right. Looking for a final wave of some sort, you guys. We need to try to make some progress here tonight. We are still at 1/4 of the nightly goal. And yet, yeah, just trying to make things happen. Yeah, because see, that avoids having to go through this thick crap, whatever the hell this is. She goes up here and starts walking, and then maybe she just runs into the road. I don't know, you know. That's the thing, is it's a way to, but if she knew about it, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ways you could have got there. She could have, walked through something, some other, it's pretty steep, you know. Some of these areas, this isn't, though. I mean, it's steep, but you're just kind of somewhat of a slow rise up. And then around, and then over there. All right, let's listen to this now.
Actively trying to find her as well in the area. They're going to continue to do that. But now it's an effort by those who knew Angelica, and they want some answers. Her car, just for some background, was found at Palomar Mountain, so that's why this is where they're focusing on the search. But again, 10 days since anyone has actually seen her. And News 8's Jenny Day, she's been covering this for days now. She spoke with her brother earlier in the week, and she is going to talk to us here in the studio. She's standing by. But first, we want to show you this report by Jenny.
We'll find her. She's strong-willed.
44-year-old Angelica Brophy, now missing since July 6th. Take a close look at her photo. The Oceanside mother of two is an emergency department nurse, a traveler, hiker, and marathon runner. Her husband, retired Air Force.
Avid hiker, good mom, loving mother. She's been to this park before and hiked it back in February. They love to travel. She's very adventurous.
Kaiser Permanente San Marcos also telling me they're deeply concerned for their colleague, saying she's a valued and respected member of their team, and they are hopeful for her safe return. Efforts were made to find her phone, but it's either off or out of battery. The last known ping came from Harrah's Hotel and Casino in Valley Center at 3:30. According to her brother, there is surveillance footage of her leaving Harrah's alone, then no cameras, but proof she purchased a pass to enter the state park at 4:20. She had plans with her 12-year-old daughter after summer camp that night. But again, it's been more than a week now and nothing since.
There was no video surveillance. There's no video cameras up there. At the gate when you enter the park, there was an attendant at the guard shut.
It's a long and desolate, windy climb up the mountain, then vast, beautiful wilderness. Chopper 8 above where her car was found in this parking lot by her husband 3 days later, about 50 yards away from Doan Pond. It's near the start of the Cedar Trailhead.
There is no foul play or anything that shows a hint of any foul play with the vehicle. I don't know. First couple days bogged my mind with the scenarios and all this, but I just realized that that's just holding me back from being present and trying to figure out what's best now moving forward for the kids, for the family, in regards to what we're going to do, what the plan, civilian search or anything like that. That's what I'm focused on right now.
Oceanside police are leading the investigation, but tell us California State Parks is coordinating the search, along with the Sheriff's Department rescue team and divers from San Diego Harbor Police. So far, 4 solid days of searching and still no closer to finding Angelica Brophy.
What's going through my mind is I just want to get her home.
And that's Jenny Day reporting, and here's Jenny Day in our studio. Jenny, what a mystery, right? I mean, this is so...
Yeah, so look at, there's Boulder Smoky. Yeah, so you went, this is where you went, right here, Boulder Smoky. I put it on the map. See that? It's right there. See that? It's right there. Where she went hiking is way up here, like this. This is where, I guess I'd call it more of a hike. But she ended right there. Now, I'm just putting in this extra thing. I think it'd be cool if you I mean, this is a place where, you probably need to be professional. I wouldn't just go there. That's not a pond, by the way. That's a hole in the map. You can see now it's filling in. I think this is a place that people should be searching inside this purple area, and you wouldn't have any odor down here from decomposition if she was over here. I don't give a shit what way the wind's blowing. It's not making its way down here because it's like way over here in a whole different area where it would be trapped. So I think this is the area that I would search. And then the other area is kind of over in this direction if she was doing a total head fake with that. So anyways, I think this is sort of an interesting... Why don't you try that one, Boulder Smoky, right here. Try this route. I mean, like from right here, I think there's a way... It kind of looks like it's somewhat easy, maybe, just to get through. I don't know how... That might be kind of steep right there, so I don't know if that's exactly the way. But maybe you get up here. That looks pretty steep right there. Especially this portion. So I'm not exactly sure if that's how she would get up there. But, over here at the edge of, like over on this side, I don't think it's that hard maybe to, I don't know what this stuff is. Are these trees here or just some kind of weird brush? Because you can see the trees, but I don't know what this is, Is it easy to walk through that stuff? And if it is, then you don't have to go all the way around up there. Maybe just kind of... This is where I would think over here, though. And not only that, because it has the view out over the valley of where she lives. Kind of a... you're sort of looking at your family while you're doing whatever you're doing. I hope she rendezvoused with a guy, maybe the car that came in an hour later. Hopefully. I don't know.
Bizarre, and how many days that have passed, you just worry for what could have possibly happened.
That's where we do want to use our platform for some good. We have this platform, and again, we'd like to just help get the word out. This family, her coworkers, are very understandably concerned. I interviewed the family, and she has a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. The 12-year-old had been at summer.
So 12 and 15. So you're saying all this stuff over here is like nobody can walk through. This stuff here you can't really walk through. You kind of have to stay on trails. But there seems to be these little trails all over the place. So I don't know if there's anything that makes it out somewhere over here. I guess we can... Yeah, there's no 360 over there. Yeah, the 360 ends kind of up here, right where her path. So she did the same route that these people are going. She was up there. Yeah, so it would be hard to get through this. That's what it is right here, this crap. Those little bushes. So I don't know if you can get through there. But that's what I would think, that somehow she made it into that area by somehow making it to this place up here that's very easy to get through. And there's even a path up there. So I don't know how she would get to that. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, there is a little trail right over here that seems to kind of cut across and then would somehow, and then it would run into that, maybe. And then where does that trail go? Does it come down here? I mean, it looks like there's little paths, like that seems like a trail right there, winding its way. Yeah, see that? So there's little trails all over the place. You know, what she did, I don't know.
Summer camp that day. The brother said that she was not set to pick her up from camp, but they had evening plans, and
So to go on a hike possibly
I know.
around 4:15.
Right.
You wonder, but she was familiar with that
Right,
area. It
right.
sounds an
Very
avid
active,
hiker,
yep,
active.
yep.
I mean, it's good to hear the background from her family on her abilities to get
Right.
out into the mountains and
Right.
enjoy the mountains. But that the timing raises a little bit of if she was planning to hike and then go meet
Yeah.
her family, what may have happened there along the way. So
And I will say, I mean, I hike a lot, and Palomar Mountain, it is beautiful. But it truly is very desolate. Yes, there are campgrounds. Yes, of course, there are hikers and people and fishermen, etc. But it's quite a drive. And so if she had evening plans again to start a hike around 4:30 is unusual. We'll just remind you, her cell phone last pinged at
So they're saying she had evening plans. What the hell does that mean? I mean, what does that mean? Right, but like where you walk though, there's nothing. Boulder, Smoky, you're just kind of walking on the edge of the park. So there must be trails. I think what you need to do is try to do this one and then veer off the trail sometimes and see what you can see. And maybe try to make it all the way up to this area up here. And then see from there. I mean, look, there is this little path right here, right? So she ends her walk that day there, but this seems to be a path. It's not like a little creek or something. It looks like something that people literally walk on as it continues down here and then even gets wider down right there. See that? So let's say she makes it all the way up to this top portion. And then it goes into the woods there. So where does that go? Does it continue through there? I mean, that's what I can't see. Maybe it's a deer trail too. I don't know, but at least it looks like people are walking on it.
Harrah's Casino.
At the casino.
Yeah.
Okay.
And her brother says that there is video surveillance of her leaving alone. And then I've been told by California Park Services that they do not have any video surveillance out there at Palomar Mountain.
Okay.
I was hopeful, of course, for one, at least at the entrance and exit,
Yeah,
but
right.
there's nothing. And so they said that the attendant who she paid for a parking pass
she
did
bought a
confirm that she bought a pass. And then it was her husband who 3 days later even found her car, again, missing July 6th, or last seen at Harrah's. And then the car was found 3 days later at Palomar Mountain State Park. Again, a long, windy, beautiful road, but it's far out there.
Yeah. And you think about it's coming off of the 4th of July weekend.
Yep.
So it was the Monday after the 4th, which I know, we were here working, and I remember thinking there must be a lot of people still taking that Monday
Sure.
off. So maybe the mountains were busier than normal because it was a holiday. A lot of people went camping for the holiday, but who knows, at this point. And obviously there's an extensive search that's going on since
Right
they
now.
found
Yeah.
that car there. They searched the pond, right? That's
Yeah.
nearby.
Yeah,
And
grim
then-
effort for sure.
And I was waiting to find out from our photographer, but he's there covering the search.
Yeah, and there's no service there. We had
Oh,
to
there's
bring
no
a
phone service.
Starlink.
Okay.
I mean, it's really far out there. But I even asked the family that. I'm like, how are you even processing that they're searching a pond for your loved one? So again, we want to use our platform for some good. We would like to help. If you know anything, they are asking for people to come forward with their Ring cameras for maybe any dash cam video that you have. Maybe you saw her walking. Maybe you know something.
Thanks, Dickie D. Trying for something. I don't know, man. I've never seen it like this in here. It's crazy.
Thing. I want you to know that you can remain anonymous. Again, this is an Oceanside mom, a wife, an ER nurse at Kaiser. People are missing this woman, and this is not her norm. And we really hope we can help.
Right. And I don't know if we have video, Jack, of this, but last night there was a vigil,
Yes.
and a lot of loved ones came together. Look at this, in San Marcos,
Check it out.
near where she works. And,
Do you think you'll be able to get up there? I mean, it doesn't seem like it'd be that easy. I mean, maybe she got over onto this, I don't know, walked across, got onto that church thing, that road somehow. I mean, she did walk up here on her, or that's you, I guess. But even up here, look at how she kind of made it over there that one time. So that actually means that she crossed over that road, so she could have easily went just up where the church is, interestingly, which is right on the edge of our purple area, and maybe somewhere up in that area. Maybe someone needs to go check near that church, because it's kind of interesting how on her walk that one time she crossed over the road, Doan Valley Road over here, and then that's one of the roads that leads up there. She actually passes over the what is that called? Something, Nate Harrison Road right there. So, we see that on one of her walks. So you never know. Maybe she went up here somewhere, or, and then look, when she's up over there, there's even a little trail that kind of goes around down there. That's sort of interesting, right? I mean, where does that lead? I think, if I was somebody searching out there, I would send everybody I had into this area, this whole area right down in here. I think this stuff here, everybody just keeps trampling over and over and over again, just because it's like easy to do. You get there, oh, hey, let's just walk down the trail again. I think they need to get like serious search and rescue people up here. I mean, you see that little path right there, right? And that's obviously going somewhere. And she's not far away from it on her walk over here that one time. And maybe she wanted to be, this area here fits into the narrative that we were talking about, like sort of a spiritual place to look over at your, where you live, etc. And then, but I kind of have her sort of at the top of something over here, so I don't know if there's anything that leads up to the top of a hill. But I would think that church would have built, a path or something to have that look that you're looking for when you get up there. So it could even be more over in this area at the top, on the left hand side there. Anybody see Dickie D's challenge attempt up there? Just looking, it seems like a really easy one there. Wasn't even really a challenge, just sort of like, hey everybody. Hey, thanks, My Leah, for gifting a membership. You're one of only 6 for tonight. Yeah, let's see this other one.
Missing Oceanside mom and nurse is intensifying. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
This is 6 days ago.
Angelica Brophy's car was found at Palomar Mountain, but it's now been 7 days since anyone has seen her. News 8's Jenny Day talked to her brother and joins us from a pond near where Brophy's car was found. That pond was just searched this morning. Jenny.
Yeah, Carlo, definitely a grim effort. And of course, the family is hoping that they do not find her in this pond, but they have searched nearby trails as well, with so far no success.
We will find her. She's strong-willed.
44-year-old Angelica Brophy, now missing since July 6th. Take a close look at her photo. The Oceanside mother of two is an emergency department nurse, a traveler, hiker, and marathon runner. Her husband, retired Air Force.
Avid hiker, good mom, loving mother. She's been to this park before and hiked it back in February. They love to travel. She's very adventurous.
Kaiser Permanente San Marcos also telling me they're deeply concerned for their colleague, saying she's a valued and respected member of their team, and they are hopeful for her safe return. Efforts were made to find her phone, but it's either off or out of battery. The last known ping came from Harrah's Hotel and Casino in Valley Center at 3:30. According to her brother, there is surveillance footage of her leaving Harrah's alone, then no cameras, but proof she purchased a pass to enter the state park at 4:20. She had plans with her 12-year-old daughter after summer camp that night, but
so there you go. Now we know that the plans were with her daughter after summer camp that night. I wonder what those were. But don't you think that's interesting then that she had arranged for somebody else to pick her up? I wonder why, what the reasoning for those plans that she made, like what that was supposed to be, or why she said that. If she knew what she was going to be doing, why did she say that? Hey, let's do this later or something. Maybe it helped explain why somebody else was picking her up or something. I don't know.
But again, it's been more than a week now and nothing since.
There was no video surveillance. There's no video cameras up there. At the gate when you enter the park, there was an attendant at the guard shut.
It's a long and desolate, windy climb up the mountain, then vast, beautiful wilderness. Chopper 8 above where her car was found in this parking lot by her husband 3 days later, about 50 yards away from Doan Pond. It's near the start of the Cedar Trailhead.
There is no foul play or anything that shows a hint of any foul play in the vehicle. I don't know. First couple days bogged my mind with the scenarios and all this, but I just realized that that's just holding me back from being present and trying to figure out what's best now moving forward for the kids, for the family, in regards to what we're going to do, what the plan, civilian search or anything like that. That's what I'm focused on right now.
Oceanside police are leading the investigation, but tell us California State Parks is coordinating the search, along with the Sheriff's Department rescue team and divers from San Diego Harbor Police. So far, 4 solid days of searching and still no closer to finding Angelica Brophy.
What's going through my mind is I just want to get her home.
Yeah, the family really just doesn't know what to think. Oceanside police confirming that there are no signs of foul play. So if you know anything, of course, please come forward. You can even remain anonymous. We do have that number on our website, cbs8.com. For now, we're live on Palomar Mountain. Jenny Day, News 8.
Yeah. I'm just looking at this trail map. Hold on a second. All right, so these green dots are trails here. I'd rather have, crap. Not sure where it went. But anyways, you guys, I'm just spinning my wheels, so I'll just come back maybe tomorrow. We'll try to, put some more stuff together, get some maps, etc. That would be great. So thank you to Joel Burnt, Alley Cake, Joel Burnt, and then Alley Cake, NM91324, Alley Cake, Chad, 6 Kids, CD, Jessica, Schubach, Lisa Valenzuela, Alley Cake, Joel Burnt, Kathy Friedmaker, Chicken Wing, Michelle H, Nurse Up 1, Honeybee Fly, we had 6 Kids UK, Dickie D, and Mylea and Marty. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys later. And until next time, be safe out there.